everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you a super cute little animal that I made. This is a little armchair pet. He's pretty straight when you make him, but when you put him over like an arm of a chair or the top of a chair, he just sits up there and look how cute that is. If you want to know how to make him, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to start with a piece of faux fur that measures 9 inches long by 8 inches wide, and the 8-inch side is on the side where the fur is facing downward. And then just go ahead and take your ruler and draw a line with it, and then you can see exactly where you need to cut out your rectangle. And then we're going to cut behind the faux fur only, and if you've got these little Fiskars scissors, these little spring-loaded scissors, I'll leave them in the description below. They're real easy to cut faux fur because they automatically cut the backing only. Next, you're going to go ahead and comb in the faux fur on both the 9-inch sides. Just comb it forward because we are going to glue that edge. And then go ahead and run a bead of hot glue right down the side, and we're going to glue the two sides together. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to cover this up with another strip here in a second, but just kind of get as close as you can. Next, we're going to take a 1-inch wide piece of craft foam. I'm just using white craft foam, and I'm just going to run it right down the front part of this to cover this seam. So go ahead and glue on both sides of that seam, and then just glue this right down. This will secure this so it doesn't come apart. And if yours is uneven like mine is right there, just go ahead and even it out at this point. So we're going to cut the paws out, and we're going to cut 4 of these. These measure 5 by 2 1/4 inches, and I've given you the pattern in the description below. Just cut it out, and we're going to cut 4 of these out of the same faux fur. So go ahead and lay your pattern onto your faux fur, and go ahead and just draw your lines with a ruler. It's easier to cut it out that way. And then just cut behind the faux fur, and you're going to cut 4 of these. And you want to make sure that the fur is facing on the downward side on the short side. Okay, next we're going to find our center point, and we're just going to draw a line right through the center, and that's where the two sides are going to meet when we glue them. And you can hand sew this entire thing if you want to. I glued the legs and the body, but I hand sewed the rest of it. And I'm just going to put some glue right down the center, and I'm going to put a little 3/4 inch bead right down at the bottom in the center. And then just go ahead and start folding that over to the center, and then gluing it in. And then you're going to do the same thing with the opposite side, and we're going to meet right in the center on that. And then that little bead just gives it a little bit of weight at the bottom and on the front and the back, and it's going to act as the very bottom of his paw. And if you don't want to add the beads, you don't have to, but it kind of made it look a little bit cuter. And then go ahead and get that glued in good. And then do the same thing with all 4 paws. And then go ahead and find your center point here. Open it up right there. We're going to run a bead of glue right down the center. Just make sure everything's glued in good. And then we're going to put the two together right here. Go right down the center, and then we're going to put the fur, close it together. And then that will seal it up and make it all as one unit. Next, I'm just going to take some macrame yarn, and I'm just going to go ahead and go all the way around this bead until I get to the center of it. This just kind of finishes it out a little bit and makes it not just look like a little bead sticking there. And it does cover up that seam on where the fur meets the bead. Just keep going all the way around till you get into the center, and then just cut that off and glue that in. And you're going to do this for all 4 paws. Okay, next to attach the paws to the body, we're just going to go ahead and put our paw on the bottom with the seam facing downward. And we're just going to hand stitch these in. Now this does not have to be a perfect stitch because that faux fur hides anything. So just get it stitched in good on both legs. And then once you get to the end, just go ahead and take your thread, wrap it around your loop about 4 or 5 times, and then just pull it tight, and that'll give you a nice knot. And then go ahead and cut the string off. And then go ahead and attach your other leg on the opposite side. And you are leaving a little bit of space between the two. And again, your stitches don't have to be perfect because this faux fur covers up everything. Just get it stitched in pretty good. After you get those glued in, go ahead and get your faux fur kind of straightened out a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and glue across the top part. So go ahead and pull it back, get your faux fur facing downward, and then we're going to start gluing this in. Just go right across the top edge of that faux fur, and then just start holding it down until it dries. For the head, we're going to go ahead and cut 2 of these out, and again the pattern is in the description below. Just download it and print it, and then just cut behind the faux fur only, and you're going to cut 2 of these heads out. Now that you got them cut out, we're going to go ahead and comb them in on both sides because we are going to sew these together. Now, I'm going to sew these by hand because it did turn out a lot nicer than if you glue it, but you can glue these just like you did the body. Just get your fur combed on the towards the inside a little bit so you can get your stitches pretty even. Okay, then just join the 2 sides together with the fur on the inside and then just stitch all the way around. And again, this does not have to be perfect stitching. You can do 1/4 inch stitching, 1/2 inch stitching, however you want to, because that faux fur is going to be very forgiving and you'll never see where you made those stitches. But just go all the way around. It did not take long to do this. I would highly recommend sewing it versus gluing it on the head because it is such a focal part of the body. And it doesn't take long to do that. Just make sure you get that fur in there pretty good. And if you have a sewing machine, you could sew it by sewing machine. Okay, and then go ahead and turn it right side out. And then we're going to add some stuffing to this to fill it up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add a nose. And just kind of find out in the middle part of the bottom part there, we're just going to attach it right here. I think it's probably about 1.5 inches up from the chin area. And then just go ahead and cut it with a knife. And I'll show you here in a minute. It was easier when I put the eyes in. I kind of learned a little trick to doing these. But just go ahead and push that on through there. And then find your spot and put your nose through. And I'll show you here an easier way because it is a little bit hard to find the hole once you do cut it. But go ahead and push it on through there. And then these little eyes and noses come with a little round washer to go on the back of them to hold them in place. Just get it pushed all the way through there. You may have to cut a little bit of the fur that's coming through with it. But once you get it pushed through there, we're going to add a little washer to hold it in place. And that's the little washer. And just push it on there and then the teeth will grab it and it'll stay in place. But you make sure you get it pushed all the way on. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and cut the ears out so we can figure out where we want the eyes. And you're going to cut 2 of the fur ears and then you're going to cut 2 of them out of fleece. And I fixed the pattern for you so it explains a little bit easier when you're cutting with the pattern. And you're cutting behind the fur only. And these little scissors cut behind the fur real easily. And then cut 2 of them out of the fleece. And you could use a contrast color if you wanted to. You could put pink on the inside of the ears. That would be cute too. But I just had the white fleeces, so that's what I used. Okay, and then to stitch these together, go ahead and put your fleece over the top of the fur because you want the fur on the inside, and just go ahead and hand stitch all the way around. Now, your hand stitching does not have to be perfect. You can just do little 1/4 inch stitches or 1/2 inch stitches because you're not going to really see it once you get it turned right side out because the fur will cover it all up. And you could glue this if you want to, but if your fur was a little bit thinner, you could glue this if you want to, but this fur was pretty thick, so I did not glue it. Just make sure that you get all of your fur inside as you're going around. And you're going to leave the bottom open because we are going to turn it right side out here in just a second. And I'm just going to take a pair of pliers and push it up in here to turn this right side out. Now, if you use fleece on this, which I highly recommend, it's easy to turn this right side out. If you use some kind of a cotton fabric or felt or something like that, you'll have a real hard time turning this right side out. And then you're going to make the other ear exactly like this one. Okay, next you want to comb all your hair to the outside, and then we're going to take some scissors and just cut into this to kind of thin it out a little bit because it's a little bit thick. So just go straight into it and just keep cutting until you get it as thin as you want it. And then cut the bottom off. I'm going to take 2 pipe cleaners. I'm going to bend them in half and stick them up into the ear, and that way we can make the ears bend. And then go ahead and separate the two and put glue on each side and then down the center to glue them in. And then go ahead and cut the tips of them off. Next, I'm going to go ahead and stick my ear inside of here just to kind of see where I want to put my eyes. Just kind of put your ear in there and kind of determine where you want your eyes. And then we're going to just go ahead and poke them through just like we did the nose. So go ahead and hold it up there exactly where you want it. And then go ahead and push it through. And then go ahead and turn it on the inside and just cut right there where that point is. That's the easiest way to do it. And then go ahead and push it all the way through and attach your little washer to it. And then do the same thing with the other eye. But it's easier to put the ear in and then you can kind of see. And then just line the other eye up with that other eye. And then go ahead and push it through and attach it as well. Okay, and I did not show this on camera, but you want to go ahead and fill the head up with some polyfill. That's why I have polyfill in there now. I didn't just now realize I did not show that in the video, but you want to fill the head up with polyfill because you do want it to be full. Okay, next to attach the ears, we're just going to come down inside the head about 1/2 inch with each ear, and we're just going to put one on each side, and go ahead and pin them in so you can sew them. Now, I'm going to sew mine across the front and then across the back. If you want to, you can glue these in, but if you're planning on selling these at a craft fair or something like that, I'd highly recommend going ahead and sewing them. And it doesn't take long. You're just going to catch the edge of the head with the ear. And you can do 1/4 inch stitches, 1/2 inch stitches, whatever you want to do. Just get them stitched in good and make sure the whole thing is closed in at the top. So between the ears, you'll have to sew the front to the back. But this did not take long to do. It went pretty fast. And like I said a minute ago, it doesn't have to be perfect because all that fur is going to cover all that up. But you do want to close up that top part there between the two ears. And then go across the back exactly like you just did the front. Okay, just to keep it from completely being flat, I'm just taking a little plastic bag to put down inside of it and just kind of evenly space it in there. Then go ahead and attach your front legs just like you did the back legs. And you might want to put the head on just to kind of see, but I'm going to go ahead and pin mine in and then I'm going to sew on them. I'm just going to stitch these in. Now again, if you want to glue these in, you could glue these in. And I'm just stitching all the way around the leg on the front and the back, just like I did on the head. And then go ahead and sew between the two legs too. There is going to be a space between the two legs. And again, this does not take long to hand stitch this. This went pretty fast because it does not have to be perfect. Okay, next to attach the head, we're just going to come down to the very bottom of the body and the bottom of the head, and we're going to join the two with some needle and thread. And just kind of make some big loops in there. You don't have to, doesn't have to be perfect. I put probably 5 big loops through there, go through the head, go through the body, and get that sewn in good. And then we're going to do the same thing towards the top part of the head. And he doesn't have a neck because when he goes over the armchair, it'll make it look like he has his head is sticking straight up. So you're just going to sew it right to the body. And then you're going to come up to the top part of the head and sew it down to the body as well. Just get it sewn in pretty tight. And then I'm going to come up towards the top part of the head and sew it down to the body as well. To give a little bit more definition around the eyes, I'm just going to kind of trim some of that fur around there so you can see the eyes a little bit easier. Okay, next for the tail, I'm going to take a piece of fur that's 4 inches by 1 3/4 inches, and I'm just going to fold it to the inside and glue it together. Just glue it to where the two sides meet together. And then that's going to be the part that's going to be laying down on top of the body. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and stitch it right to the body. And I'm probably coming up maybe 1.5 inches from the bottom part of the body. And again, your stitches don't have to be perfect because this fur is all going to cover all that up anyways. Just get it to where it's attached. Okay, next for the little tongue, I'm just going to take a piece of craft foam in pink. I'm going to cut a little rectangle out, and then I'm just going to do a U shape around there to make a tongue shape. And then I'm just going to put it right up underneath his nose. Just kind of open up the fur right there. And then we're just going to glue that right in. Okay, I think he turned out super cute. You could either lay him down or lean him over the arm of a chair or the back of a couch. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it.